Today I'm out at Silver Falls State Park. It's very late October. Still lots of leaves, still great color, but they're starting to fall, so this is probably going to be like one of the last weekends to be able to get out and shoot any kind of fall color. But Silver Falls State Park is epic because there is a trail of 10 falls, and there are 10 waterfalls that you can see if you wanted to walk 8 miles. I've walked it before and I know where I want to go, so I'm not going to have to do all 8 miles. But right now I'm at South Falls, and this is a pretty classic composition. It doesn't require, it's one of those obvious one-shot wonders. It's a very, very tall waterfall. We got really good water flow because it's been raining a lot. As a matter of fact, it's raining on and off right now, which again is saturating all those fall colors, making them look epic. So let me just show you the composition that I got real quick and how I kind of dialed it in. So there's my composition. Notice the falls right in the middle, and it's falling right into the color. I've got the color from the trees down here on my bottom right, just kind of framing this bottom corner. And I don't have to have where the fall ends necessarily. I'll probably get that shot in a different composition from a different location. But I love the fact that you got the waterfall coming down into the color, and then there's a little bit of color up here at the very, very top of the frame on the right-hand side of the falls. And again, I'm dialing in my shutter speed. Water is all about getting the look that you want, and you control that with your shutter speed. And so getting a good exposure without blowing out any of the whites in that water, and then finding a shutter speed that's going to freeze the water or let it flow, you get the look that you want. And I've settled somewhere 1/4 of a second to an 1/8, 13th, 10th, a little bit. Just slight variations make a big, big difference because this is a very tall fall and it's a lot of flow coming over. So it doesn't take a lot of difference in the shutter speed to really make a big difference in the way that water looks. I'll pick it when I get back on the computer, and I'll show you this shot right now. So I've come down the trail a little bit. Now I've got the plunge pool. I can see where the waterfall's hitting, and I've still got some nice color on these 2 trees on either side that's going to frame the waterfall, and I still got a little bit of color up there at the very, very top. These leaves here are blowing because of the waterfall's just moving a lot of air, so I want to freeze that motion. So that means I'm going to have to take and keep my exposure the same, do a fast enough shutter speed to freeze those leaves that are flapping around in the wind, and then blend that in with another shot that's got the shutter speed, a slower shutter speed that gives me the look of the water that I want. So I've already found that my leaves are going to be pretty still. If I wait just a second and hopefully catch it just right, about 1/30th of a second. Now I can't really adjust you don't want to adjust your aperture to adjust the exposure, because if you do that, you're going to throw that background way out of focus, and it's going to be impossible to blend in Photoshop. You're going to have to do layer masks. So what I've done is I use my ISO to adjust to keep my exposure about the same. Again, we're talking it's daylight, it's overcast, and it's great for waterfalls, but it's overcast enough and it's bright enough that the ISO is not going to introduce a lot of noise, because I'm keeping my exposure you know, just at the right spot, not to blow out my highlights in my waterfall. So let me show you. All right, so I'm at a 30th of a second, and I'm about 1 stop underexposed. I've got a few little blinkies at the top of the waterfall, but not bad. I'm at ISO 1600. So I'm gonna take the shot. And then I'm gonna zoom in on the leaves to see if there's any movement. And that looks great. It's perfectly sharp. There's no movement in my leaves. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ramp my ISO back down, probably around 320, because it is still kind of dark. And I'm gonna go back to around a 1/6 of a second, and keeping that exposure level the same, right? That's one of the key things that makes it easy. So I take the shot. I'm gonna zoom in on my water now, because if you notice in my leaves, I've got blurry leaves all over the place, right? But I don't care. I'm just looking at what the water looks like at this point. I've got texture in my water. I can see how it's falling, the sheets. And down at the bottom, that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna take one more to be safe. And here's the shot. A lot of the leaves have fallen. It's still a beautiful waterfall, and the water flow is really high. You can see how bad the wind is around, around the falls, right there in the trees, and over here in the ferns. It's going to make it kind of difficult. So I found a composition I think will work. I got the tripod extremely low to the ground. There's a rock, and there's some leaves that have fallen on it. I've got a couple of big tree logs in the water that's going to act as a leading line back up to the falls. I'm at 16 millimeters, and I'm going to have to focus stack this. I'm not too worried about any of the movement around the bushes and stuff, because they're way far away, and all the stuff that's moving that's close to me is not in the frame. So that's a big plus. The only thing I have to worry about is just making sure I have a couple of shots so that everything's going to be in focus from front to back, because even at 16 millimeters, the first object in my frame is like, 20 inches away, and it's just not enough depth of field to get it in one shot. All right, let me brighten it up a little bit. Maybe that'll help, maybe not. But I've got this nice rock here in my foreground. I've got some leaves that have fallen on it. Then I've got a log here in my midground. Then the waterfall in the back. I got some fall color over here on the left side of the frame where the leaves are falling. And it's a nice mist. I think it's going to give it like a little dreamy, ethereal look that'll come out really, really nice. But you can see that leaf is literally right there. Here's my lens. And there's that first rock in the leaf, and then the composition goes back. You can see the log right here, and then there's the waterfall. So it's a good spray coming off of there. I'm having to wipe the lens every shot. Always make sure you got multiple microfibers to wipe that off when you're doing it in conditions like this, because it's not only raining, it's the mist from the falls and the wind that's blowing it right on the camera and my glasses. So let me get the shot. And if it comes out, I'll show it to you right now. I'm headed to North Falls, and it's about 136-foot waterfall. It's really beautiful, and you can walk behind it. It's several of the waterfalls here in Silver Falls allow you to walk behind them, which is kind of cool. The trick for this waterfall is trying to find a composition that gives you the fall color and the waterfall, because there's a lot of evergreens around the waterfall. So it's kind of challenging to get the waterfall with some fall color. So you can hear it's getting louder as I get closer. So let me show you. So this is pretty cool. I'm directly behind the waterfall. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm yelling. Look at that. That is gorgeous. I love. There's a little bit of cloud in the canyon down there. The waterfall on my left. All the fall color on the right, and the leading line of the river right down the middle to even more color right there. So the back of the camera, my composition looks like this. So basically, hopefully you can hear me. I might have to overdub this, but I'm having to bracket the shots. There's no way around it if I want to have my foreground down here at the bottom and at the top, because of the canyon is like a cave. It's like an amphitheater. So I've got to have exposed for that just to give me a little detail there. So I have to bracket to make that happen and just get the right shutter speed for the waterfall. That's a lot of water. I think this is going to make an awesome photograph, and if it does, I'll show it to you right now. Coming up on the next waterfall that I want to photograph. This is Middle North Falls. It's another waterfall that allows you to walk behind it, and the water flow is excellent. It's fantastic. So I'm almost to it. It's a little not sketchy, but it's just I don't want to trip on these rocks and slick leaves that have fallen in the mud that I'm walking on. But I'm almost there, so let me show you what it looks like. So this is epic stuff. It's like behind a curtain of water. It's amazing. It's awesome. And the view from right here isn't bad either. So I got my composition all set. It's real easy, 16 millimeters, wide as I can go. The trick for me is finding the fall color and making sure you can put it in the frame, because there's not always, depending on your angle, you're not going to get any, or it'll be very little. So maximizing that helps you pick out a composition pretty easily. The thing is, you'll notice that there is a gale force wind at the base of the falls moving all this shrubbery. So that's going to be the biggest challenge, and I don't know if I can get my shutter speed fast enough to really freeze that and make it work. I'm going to see if I can, but let me show you. So there's my composition, waterfall on the right, plunge pool, and then the water goes off to the left side of the frame, and then fall color all along that far bank. The trick is down here. All of that is moving really, its wind is blowing it hard. So I've already got the look dialed in for my water I want. About a fifth or a sixth of a second. I'll decide once I get it back on the computer. And now all I got to do is get a shutter speed fast enough to stop the movement at the bottom of the falls. I think this is going to come out awesome. And if it does, I'll show it to you right now. This is probably going to be my last waterfall. I might try to do one more, but the rain is starting to come down relatively heavy, or steady, I should say. So it's going to be really, really hard to keep the lens from being streaked with rain, and it's going to be really hard not to catch the rain just in the shot, because it's just big drops are starting to fall. But if I can make this work, this is really, really pretty. Let me show you. So look at this great fall color I've got. This color up here in the upper left that's framing the entire upper part and even down around here. I got my waterfall kind of in the center there over to the right, and then the creek comes down right here and exits the bottom right of the frame. So I am just, there's nothing really moving right here at this waterfall, which is nice. So I'm only going to really need one shot. And I'm just trying to dial in the look of the water that I want. And as soon as I do that, I'll have the shot, but you'll get to see it right now. So that's going to wrap it up from Silver Falls State Park here in Oregon. This is an epic, epic trail. 10 Falls, the Trail of 10 Falls is what it's called. If you like the video, sure would appreciate a thumbs up. I'd love it if you subscribed and shared my work on any social media platform that you use. That would really help me out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.